The courtroom buzzed with an unusual energy that day, a stark contrast to the usual solemnity that enveloped such spaces. Sunlight streamed through tall windows, casting a warm glow on the polished wooden benches and the imposing judge's bench at the front. The air was thick with anticipation as people shuffled in and out, whispering among themselves about the morning's proceedings. At the center of this vibrant scene sat Judge Thomas, a seasoned jurist known for his fair rulings and approachable nature. With a twinkle in his eye and a wry smile, he glanced down at the small figure beside him, a bright-eyed 9-year-old girl named Lily, who had been summoned to court along with her family. Despite her youth, there was something remarkable about her. An innate confidence radiated from her petite frame. Lily fidgeted slightly on her seat, clutching a stuffed animal that seemed like a relic from her more carefree days. Today was far from ordinary. She found herself in a room where serious matters were discussed, yet she felt oddly at home amidst the legal jargon flying around her. Judge Thomas observed her closely, noting how she appeared both unfazed and intrigued by the surroundings. "Welcome, everyone," the judge began, his voice resonating through the room. "Today, we have something special planned." He leaned forward slightly, creating an inviting atmosphere as he looked at Lily. "We're going to play a little game called Truth or Lie." A ripple of curiosity swept through those present. It was not common for judges to engage in playful activities during hearings, but this day promised to be different, an opportunity for levity in an otherwise serious environment. Lily's eyes sparkled with excitement at the prospect of participating, though she couldn't quite grasp the depth of what lay ahead. The judge explained the rules. He would pose questions about various legal principles and situations, and she would respond with either truth or lie, the catch being that she had to convince him of whichever option she chose. As he prepared to start, whispers filled the courtroom about how this game might unfold. Little did they know that beneath Lily's youthful exterior lay a mind sharper than most adults. She had spent countless hours immersing herself in books about law and justice, her precocious penchant for knowledge setting the stage for an unexpected showdown between age and intellect. With a grin, Judge Thomas clapped his hands together enthusiastically. "Shall we begin?" he asked, oblivious to the fact that today's game would turn into an extraordinary lesson for everyone involved. Judge Thomas leaned back in his chair, a contemplative smile playing across his face as he prepared to initiate the game. His decision to engage Lily with truth or lie was influenced not only by a desire to lighten the mood in the courtroom but also by his understanding of how vital it is to make the judicial system accessible to younger generations. From years of experience, he recognized that children often viewed the law as an abstract concept, shrouded in complexity and formality. By introducing a playful approach, he aimed to demystify these notions. "Children are curious by nature," he pondered aloud as he glanced around the courtroom at his audience. "If I can spark their interest in legal matters now, who knows what future leaders we might inspire?" This thought lingered in his mind, fueling his enthusiasm for the upcoming exchange. He believed that engaging young minds creatively could pave the way for a deeper understanding of civic responsibility and justice. The atmosphere shifted with anticipation. Even the most serious lawyers and court officials were intrigued by this unique twist on a routine hearing. Judge Thomas hoped to foster a sense of empowerment in Lily, encouraging her to voice her thoughts and feel valued despite her tender age. He felt that through this game, she could be motivated to explore topics surrounding law and ethics further, perhaps igniting a passion that could lead her down an impressive career path. As he began outlining the rules, Judge Thomas noticed how Lily's eyes lit up with excitement, a promising sign that she was ready to actively participate. His intention wasn't just to entertain, he aspired to encourage critical thinking and expression. For him, this moment represented something much larger, an opportunity to bridge the gap between authority figures and young individuals navigating life's complexities. Moreover, Judge Thomas hoped that each well-crafted question would unveil lessons about integrity, accountability, and fairness, principles foundational not just in law but in life itself. It was essential for him that Lily felt safe exploring these concepts without fear of judgment or repercussions. In essence, this playful endeavor was far more than a simple game. It was an avenue for connection. Although he had entered this session with lighthearted intentions, the judge found himself becoming increasingly aware of the profound effects such interactions could have, not only on Lily but also on everyone witnessing this dynamic exchange unfold before them. As the game began, all eyes turned to Lily, the 9-year-old prodigy who had quickly become the center of attention. With her tousled brown hair neatly tucked behind her ears and an expression of eager determination on her face, she embodied both innocence and brilliance. Though she was small in stature, her presence filled the room as if she were an experienced lawyer ready to take on any challenge. Lily had always been different from her peers. While other children reveled in tales of adventure and fantasy, she found herself drawn to books about the law and notable legal cases. Her parents often caught her poring over volumes on constitutional rights or famous court decisions long past bedtime. It wasn't just a passing interest, it was a mindset deeply rooted in her desire for justice and fairness. As an innate problem solver, she found joy in dissecting complex situations and unraveling their intricacies. In school, while classmates debated the latest trends or animatedly discussed playground politics, Lily would earnestly engage with teachers over discussions about ethics or the importance of civic duty. Her classmates sometimes called her Mini Lawyer, a nickname that made her beam with pride. Little did they know that this affectionate title would not only align with her aspirations but also presage a remarkable journey ahead. As Judge Thomas prepared to pose his first question, Lily's heart raced with excitement. She felt a mixture of anxiety and exhilaration, an opportunity to showcase her knowledge and potentially inspire others. She glanced out at the audience. Some looked skeptical while others wore expressions of curiosity. This moment was not merely a game for her. It was a chance to shine brightly against a backdrop of skepticism. With every question posed by the judge, Lily's confidence grew. She answered thoughtfully, weaving together snippets of information she had absorbed over years of reading and discussion. Each response was laced with a sincerity that captivated those listening, including Judge Thomas himself, who couldn't help but admire her articulate expressions. As she tackled each prompt with surprising ease, it became evident that Lily possessed not only intellectual prowess but also an impressive ability to connect concepts intuitively. The courtroom transformed into an arena where age and experience melded into something extraordinary, a spirited dialogue born from an unexpected place between a seasoned judge and a young girl unfurling her wings. The more she spoke, the more she illuminated the complexities of law through the lens of youth. Judge Thomas realized he was witnessing something special, an encounter that transcended mere gameplay and ventured into uncharted waters of inspiration for everyone present. As the initial excitement settled, Judge Thomas leaned forward and signaled the start of the game, his voice resonating with enthusiasm. "All right, Lily. Let's see how well you can navigate this game of truth or lie. I'll ask you a series of statements related to the law, and you will tell me if they are true or false. Ready?" His smile widened as he eagerly awaited her response. Lily nodded vigorously, her eyes sparkling with determination. "I'm ready!" she exclaimed, her voice clear and confident. The judge chuckled softly. Her enthusiasm was infectious. The first question rolled off his tongue. Statement 1. A person is presumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Without missing a beat, Lily beamed and replied, "True." Her conviction caught the attention of even the most seasoned courtroom observers. "Correct," Judge Thomas said, nodding appreciatively. He could feel the atmosphere shift further, as whispers of admiration rippled through the audience. He was beginning to realize that this was more than just a light-hearted game. It was an opportunity to showcase Lily's prodigious talent. With each successive statement, Judge Thomas pushed the boundaries of complexity. He introduced scenarios involving legal terminology and concepts that would typically stump adults. Statement 2. It is legal for someone to yell fire in a crowded theater when there isn't one. Lily furrowed her brow thoughtfully before answering. Lie. That would be causing panic and endangering lives. Judge Thomas smiled broadly at her insightful response, noting how she dissected the statement with a level of understanding far beyond what one might expect from someone her age. As the questions grew increasingly challenging, Lily remained unfazed. She tackled each one with poise and clarity, interjecting little anecdotes or explanations that illustrated her points effectively. For instance, when faced with a question about contract law, she drew on a recent family discussion about agreements made during their vacation planning, her personal experience adding depth to her answers. Judge Thomas couldn't help but feel a swell of pride as he witnessed this remarkable exchange unfold. The courtroom had transformed into an engaging classroom where learning flourished in an unexpected format. Each correct answer sparked applause from the audience, an encouraging backdrop that fueled Lily's confidence further. With every question answered correctly, it became increasingly apparent that this was no ordinary game. Instead of just playing for fun, they were engaged in a spirited exploration of legal principles that brought vitality to the often staid proceedings of the courtroom. As laughter and cheers echoed off the walls, both Lily and Judge Thomas realized they were partaking in something truly special, an enriching dialogue that transcended age and experience, opening doors to deeper understanding for all involved. As the game continued, Judge Thomas decided to ramp up the challenge, intrigued by Lily's ability to respond with such poise. He leaned in closer, a glimmer of mischief in his eyes. "All right, let's see how sharp you really are, Lily. Here's the next statement. In most states, it is illegal to keep a pet alligator in your house. Is that true or false?" Lily paused for a moment, her brow furrowed as she processed the information. After a brief contemplation, she beamed and declared confidently, "True. Keeping alligators as pets can be dangerous and often violates local regulations." The judge raised an eyebrow in surprise. Not only had she answered correctly, but she had also provided context that showcased her understanding of public safety laws. The audience erupted into applause, clearly impressed. The atmosphere in the courtroom was electric, filled with laughter and encouragement. Even seasoned attorneys exchanged glances, amazed at how this young girl was holding her own against a judge known for his formidable intellect. Encouraged by her previous successes, Judge Thomas decided to throw in a trickier question. "All right, here's one that might stump you. A verbal agreement is legally binding and cannot be broken. What do you think?" Lily's expression shifted from confidence to contemplation. She took a moment to consider her answer carefully. "That's a lie," she finally responded with conviction. "While verbal agreements can sometimes be binding, they're hard to enforce because there's no proof of the terms if there's a disagreement." Judge Thomas couldn't help but chuckle at her astuteness. "Spot on. Many people think verbal agreements hold the same weight as written contracts, but you just highlighted a critical distinction." He felt both joy and pride swelling within him. This exchange was evolving into something more profound than he had anticipated. The room was filled with applause and cheers as he continued presenting statements, each one more challenging than the last, but Lily met them all head-on. As they moved through the rounds, it became clear that not only was Lily impressively knowledgeable about legal concepts, but she also had an innate ability to articulate her thoughts clearly and persuasively. Judge Thomas marveled at her knack for breaking down complex ideas into digestible portions, illuminating them with examples drawn from her own life experiences. At one point during the game, he presented a statement about children's rights in schools. Statement: "School officials can search your backpack without any reason. True or false?" Without hesitation, Lily responded confidently. "False. They need probable cause or reasonable suspicion to do that." The spectators were left astonished by her quick wit and depth of knowledge. As the laughter and applause filled the courtroom yet again, Judge Thomas realized they were not just playing a game, they were partaking in an enlightening journey of discovery, one that would leave lasting impressions on everyone present that day. As Lily continued to impress everyone with her responses, Judge Thomas felt a profound mix of admiration and surprise. He leaned back in his chair, his hands resting on the desk as he observed her unwavering confidence. The judge had seen many cases in his career, yet nothing compared to the excitement unfolding before him. Each correct answer from Lily was like a spark igniting a fire of curiosity and inspiration within the courtroom. With every statement she accurately dissected, Thomas's respect for her grew. He found himself smiling not just because of her intellect but also due to the genuine joy radiating from her spirit. Her passion for the law was contagious, impacting not only him but also the seasoned lawyers present, who exchanged looks of disbelief and encouragement. They had come to witness a routine case but were instead treated to an extraordinary display of youthful brilliance that transcended typical courtroom dynamics. "Your understanding of these concepts is remarkable, Lily," Judge Thomas said after she answered yet another question correctly. "You've clearly done your homework." Laughter erupted in the room, which underscored the warmth fostering between generations in that moment. In this unexpected setting, Judge Thomas became more than a mere authority figure. He transformed into a mentor and guide, recognizing the opportunity before him. With each question he asked, he was not merely assessing Lily's capability, he was also nurturing her potential. He began subtly adjusting his line of questioning, curious to see just how far her knowledge extended. The courthouse walls echoed with applause after particularly clever replies. An unusual camaraderie formed as lawyers and audience members cheered for this young girl who displayed a level of grace and wisdom beyond her years. Even the most jaded observers found themselves captivated by her passionate explanations and relatable anecdotes that illustrated legal principles. Yet amidst this celebratory atmosphere, Judge Thomas felt an internal shift as well. He realized that engaging with Lily was rekindling his own enthusiasm for teaching others about the law, a passion he had cherished in his early years before the weights of bureaucratic processes and serious court cases dulled that flair over time. As Lily concluded yet another round with a confident answer about children's rights legislation, Judge Thomas couldn't help but ponder what this day might mean for both of them moving forward. He silently vowed to embrace more opportunities for dialogue with young people from that day onward, not just in courtrooms but in schools and community programs too. In that moment, both judge and child found themselves partaking in something much larger than just a game. They were forging connections across divides of age and status, nurturing future generations who could one day stand strong in their pursuit of justice. As the game progressed, the audience became increasingly engaged, their initial curiosity evolving into active participation. Whispers of excitement filled the courtroom whenever Judge Thomas announced a new statement. Attendees leaned forward in their seats, eager to hear Lily's responses and ready to react with applause or laughter. The atmosphere buzzed with energy as lawyers and family members alike began to take sides. Some spectators playfully debated with one another over whether Lily would correctly identify the truth or lie behind each legal statement. Laughter echoed through the room as different opinions were voiced, creating a sense of camaraderie that transformed the formal setting into something more akin to a lively community gathering. Judge Thomas noticed how this dynamic was not only enhancing the experience for everyone present, but also fostering a profound sense of connection among the participants. As he put forth more complex statements, he encouraged audience members to actively express their thoughts before revealing Lily's responses. "Who thinks Lily will get this one right?" he asked, prompting hands to shoot up in excitement. Some declared she'd nail it, while others jested that she might stumble just once for fun, an affectionate nod toward their young star. Lily thrived under this growing support system. With each correct answer, she could feel the audience rallying behind her, a wave of encouragement pushing her confidence even higher. Her responses grew bolder, and she began to elaborate further on her thoughts after delivering each verdict. "When it comes to privacy rights in schools," she would begin, drawing listeners into her explanations with infectious enthusiasm. She noticed the smiles on spectators' faces and savored the moments where even Judge Thomas laughed along with them. There was a delightful interplay occurring. The seriousness of law was mingling with joy and laughter, breaking down barriers that often kept children and adults apart in such formal settings. At one point, Lily addressed a tricky statement about the legal age for voting and what responsibilities come with that right. As she broke down why understanding civic engagement was crucial for everyone, and not just those old enough to vote, a profound silence fell over the room before an eruption of applause followed her heartfelt explanation. The lawyers felt compelled to engage in discussion about her points even after her answer had been given. "You're absolutely right," one attorney commented, leaning forward as he praised her understanding of civic responsibilities. This prompted a brief back-and-forth discussion in which others chimed in with anecdotes related to voting rights, leading to an impromptu mini-lecture about laws affecting future generations. By the end of this engaging session, it was clear that Lily had transformed not only her own understanding but also shifted perspectives within her audience. The once typical courtroom event had blossomed into an invigorating celebration of knowledge, a place where age-old legal principles mingled seamlessly with youthful enthusiasm and communal learning. This unexpected synthesis deepened not just appreciation for legal principles but also reinforced connections among generations. It was indeed an inspiring day for all who had gathered there. As the game of truth or lie continued, the courtroom atmosphere shifted from mere entertainment to meaningful teaching moments for everyone involved. Judge Thomas, recognizing the impact of Lily's insights, began to infuse his questions with deeper lessons, aiming to transform the game into a genuine educational experience. "Let's talk about something relevant to all young people today," he prompted, leaning forward with interest. Statement: every citizen has a responsibility to vote in elections. True or false? Lily pondered for a moment before answering. That's a lie. While voting is important, it's not mandatory for citizens. At this point, Judge Thomas seized the opportunity to further explore civic responsibilities. Excellent point, Lily. But why do you think it's still important for citizens to engage in voting, even if they don't have to? Lily's enthusiasm ignited as she elaborated on her thoughts. Voting is how we express our opinions about what should happen in our communities. It's our chance to have a say in the laws that affect us. If we don't vote, then we're letting others decide for us. The room erupted in applause and nods of agreement from the audience, recognizing the importance of her message. Encouraged by this exchange, Judge Thomas seamlessly transitioned into discussing other civic duties. And what about being informed? Should people do research before they vote? Yes, Lily responded firmly. We need to know who and what we are voting for, otherwise, we can't make good choices. This statement led to an engaging dialogue among audience members about the role of information in decision-making and how civic knowledge is pivotal not just during elections but in everyday life. As questions became more intricate, Judge Thomas introduced legal concepts like due process and equal protection under the law. After a few challenging statements, he looked at Lily and said playfully, "Okay, this one might be tricky." Statement: the government can take away your rights without a fair trial. That's definitely a lie, she exclaimed, her tone resolute. Everyone deserves a fair trial before losing their rights. Judge Thomas turned to the audience with a knowing smile. And there you have it. Who here understands why due process is so critical? Hands shot up as audience members eagerly chimed in with their explanations. What started as a lighthearted game transformed into an enriching session where ideas flowed freely, creating a vibrant learning environment. This collaborative spirit was not only exciting but also highlighted the value of legal literacy and civic engagement among young individuals. By the end of this dynamic exchange, both Judge Thomas and Lily recognized that they had shared more than just answers. They had sparked an invaluable conversation about social responsibility that would resonate beyond this courtroom encounter. The teaching moments they'd created together served as a reminder of the importance of nurturing young voices and inspiring future generations to become active participants in their democracy, an outcome that left a profound impact on everyone present. As the lively game of truth or lie unfolded, a profound lesson in empathy emerged within the courtroom, transforming the environment into one of mutual respect and understanding. Judge Thomas, keenly aware of the impact Lily's responses had on everyone present, decided to steer the conversation toward topics that encouraged emotional intelligence and compassion. Let's consider this statement, he prompted, his voice steady yet inviting. Statement: the law treats everyone equally, regardless of their background. True or false? Lily paused for a moment, her brow furrowing as she considered the question. That's a lie, she replied, her tone firm but thoughtful. Sometimes people don't get treated equally based on where they come from or what they look like. The courtroom fell silent for a moment as her words hung in the air, resonating deeply with those present. Judge Thomas nodded solemnly, recognizing the weight of her insight. That's a very important observation, Lily. Can you explain why you think that is? With an earnestness that belied her age, Lily continued, "I think it's because not everyone has the same opportunities. Some kids might not even know their rights because they don't have someone to teach them." Her vulnerability and sincerity illuminated a reality that many in the room had either overlooked or taken for granted. Judge Thomas seized this moment to further cultivate empathy among the audience. "You're absolutely right. Understanding our differences and acknowledging the struggles of others is crucial. How can we help ensure that everyone knows their rights?" Lily's eyes sparkled with determination as she suggested, "We can talk about these things more. Teach others about the law so they can stand up for themselves." This sparked a lively discussion among audience members who began sharing ideas on how to promote awareness and education within their communities. Lawyers offered insights on outreach programs while parents discussed ways to instill civic values in their children from an early age. The interplay between Lily and Judge Thomas fostered an atmosphere rich in empathy and understanding. As they explored difficult topics together, it became clear that this was more than just a game. It was an opportunity for collective growth and reflection. As laughter and applause punctuated their exchange, Judge Thomas took a moment to express gratitude for Lily's contributions. "Today, you've reminded us all of our responsibility not just to understand the law but to advocate for one another," he stated warmly. In this unexpected courtroom setting, walls began to dissolve, barriers built by age, experience, and social status faded as voices united in their commitment to fostering understanding and kindness within society. It was a powerful reminder that empathy could thrive even in places typically reserved for judgment. As the session drew to a close, both Judge Thomas and Lily recognized that they had sparked something special, a shared commitment to nurturing compassion and awareness among individuals of all ages. This enlightening experience would resonate far beyond the courtroom walls, encouraging everyone present to take proactive steps toward empathy and advocacy in their daily lives. As the game of truth or lie drew to a close, the atmosphere in the courtroom was charged with excitement and newfound understanding. Judge Thomas glanced around the room, taking in the sea of smiling faces and sparkling eyes that had witnessed something truly special. He sensed that this was more than just a game, it had become a pivotal moment for everyone involved. Lily, beaming with pride and a hint of exhaustion, had answered each question with grace and confidence. As she sat next to the judge, her heart raced from the thrill of engaging with not only the law but also an audience that had rallied behind her every word. The applause and cheers had filled her with a sense of accomplishment, proving that her passion for legal principles resonated beyond her age. "Lily," Judge Thomas began, shifting his attention back to her, "you have not only shown remarkable intelligence today but also the kind of compassion and insight that is rare to find. What has this experience meant to you?" Taking a deep breath, Lily responded earnestly, "It's been amazing. I didn't think I could share what I love with so many people. I hope they learned something important about laws and rights." Her sincerity struck a chord with the audience, who nodded appreciatively at her words. The judge smiled warmly at her response. "I believe we all have learned something today, not just about legal concepts but about the importance of using our voices to advocate for ourselves and others." He turned to address the audience. "You've all seen how powerful it is when we engage in open dialogue about these issues. It's vital for fostering empathy and understanding in our communities." As he wrapped up the session, Judge Thomas encouraged everyone present to continue exploring these discussions beyond the courtroom walls. "Let us take this energy and passion into our lives outside of this room. Whether it's through community service, education, or simple conversations with friends and family, we all have a role to play in promoting awareness and understanding." The crowd erupted in applause once more as smiles spread across faces, this time fueled by a sense of shared purpose. The participants felt inspired to carry forward the lessons learned from both Lily's insights and Judge Thomas's guidance. Before concluding, Judge Thomas announced, "As a token of appreciation for Lily's exceptional contributions today, I'd like to present her with this certificate." He handed her an ornate piece of paper that read, "In recognition of outstanding knowledge and advocacy in the field of law." With her eyes gleaming, Lily accepted the certificate, feeling an overwhelming sense of joy wash over her. The applause thundered again as she held it high above her head. As individuals began to leave the courtroom, conversations sparked everywhere, people exchanging ideas about civic engagement and how they could make positive changes in their communities. Today had breathed new life into what it meant to be part of a society where everyone's voice mattered, regardless of age. In that moment of collective inspiration, it was evident that they were all walking away with far more than just answers. They were armed with hope and determination to foster understanding within their own corners of the world. As the echoes of applause faded and the courtroom began to empty, Judge Thomas found himself reflecting deeply on the day's unfolding events. Sitting back in his chair, he allowed himself a moment of contemplation, absorbing the profound impact that 9-year-old Lily had made not only on the audience but also on him personally. The energy of the room lingered in his mind, filled with laughter, engagement, and spirited discussions that transcended typical courtroom decorum. For years, Judge Thomas had held a steady rhythm in his judicial duties, a cycle of cases, rulings, and solemn proceedings often devoid of the youthful exuberance he had once cherished. But today was different. Lily's presence reminded him of the sparks of curiosity that had initially drawn him to law. Her passion for justice and sharp insights into complex legal concepts stirred the embers of his own enthusiasm, reigniting his commitment to education and mentorship in ways he hadn't considered in a long time. As he gathered his notes from the table, he made a mental note to integrate more interactive and educational opportunities into his work. This experience had showcased how profoundly engaged youth could enrich conversations about legal principles and civic responsibility. In witnessing Lily's contagious spirit, he felt inspired to reach out beyond traditional court settings, into schools or community programs where young minds could be nurtured in their understanding of justice. However, what resonated most powerfully with Judge Thomas was not simply Lily's intelligence, but her ability to articulate the importance of empathy and social responsibility. He had watched as she transformed nuanced conversations about rights and responsibilities into accessible lessons that moved everyone present. Her earnestness challenged adults to reconsider how they communicated complex topics to younger generations. Judge Thomas envisioned organizing workshops or outreach programs where children like Lily could express their thoughts on law and justice. He imagined panels where both young students and seasoned professionals shared ideas, encouraging dialogue that spanned ages and experiences. The potential for connection between generations was limitless when given the right forum. In addition to fostering understanding among peers, he hoped such initiatives would empower children to use their voices wisely, advocating for themselves and others with confidence. The judge recognized that encouraging this dynamic exchange was crucial to building a more informed and empathetic society. As he exited the courtroom, Judge Thomas felt renewed purpose surging within him. He walked out into the sunlight not just as a judge but as a mentor who'd been revitalized by a child's insight. Inspired by Lily's remarkable contributions, he understood that meaningful change begins with listening to young voices, shaping them into informed citizens ready to advocate for themselves and their communities. Today's experience would resonate long after the final applause had faded. It marked an evolution in his approach to teaching law. For Judge Thomas, this was more than an event. It was a renewed calling that would inform countless future interactions with young minds eager to engage with the world around them. In the wake of the inspiring courtroom exchange, Judge Thomas began to envision a broader impact that could stem from his experience with Lily. Recognizing the potential for educational reform within the judicial system, he began to formulate ideas for future initiatives aimed at empowering young citizens and enhancing legal literacy among them. One of his primary goals was to establish outreach programs that would connect local schools with legal professionals. Judge Thomas imagined workshops where students could engage in interactive activities similar to Truth or Lie, allowing them to explore legal concepts in a fun and accessible manner. These sessions would not only break down complex subjects but also instill a sense of confidence in young participants, encouraging them to voice their opinions and advocate for themselves. He also considered partnering with community organizations to create mentorship opportunities, pairing judges and lawyers with students interested in law and civic engagement. By fostering these relationships, he hoped to inspire the next generation of leaders who would not only understand legal principles but also appreciate the importance of empathy, and social responsibility in their practice. Additionally, Judge Thomas contemplated the implementation of a youth advisory board within the courthouse, comprising students eager to provide input on issues affecting their communities. This initiative would ensure that young voices were heard in discussions about legislation and community policies, further bridging the gap between authority figures and youth. Such an approach could empower students and make them feel integral to the democratic process. He envisioned creating resources for teachers that would help introduce legal topics into their curricula, making sure students were equipped with knowledge about their rights and responsibilities from an early age. This proactive approach to education would not only prepare students for future challenges but also cultivate informed citizens who were engaged and aware of their rights within society. As he mapped out these ambitious plans, Judge Thomas felt invigorated by the possibilities that lay ahead. The profound impact of his encounter with Lily had opened his eyes to the untapped potential within young minds. He realized that by investing time and energy into teaching and mentoring, he could help shape a more just and equitable society. The lessons learned from this single day in court served as a catalyst for change, not just within himself but also for countless others who would benefit from the programs he hoped to implement. With renewed determination, Judge Thomas committed to making these ideas a reality, understanding that meaningful change begins with listening to the voices of youth and empowering them to take an active role in shaping their futures. In doing so, he hoped to create a legacy that extended beyond his tenure on the bench, one that fostered a culture of understanding, advocacy, and civic responsibility among generations to come. The courtroom experience had been more than a unique event. It became a transformational moment that promised to influence the lives of many young individuals eager to learn and grow in their pursuit of justice. As Judge Thomas concluded the day's events, he felt a profound sense of fulfillment wash over him. The courtroom, once a space of formal proceedings and legal jargon, had transformed into a vibrant hub of learning and connection. He realized that what began as a simple game had evolved into a powerful platform for dialogue, advocacy, and inspiration. Reflecting on Lily's remarkable insights, he understood that her passion for justice was not just an individual spark. It symbolized the potential within all young people to influence their communities positively. This realization reinforced his belief that nurturing the next generation's understanding of law and civic responsibility was crucial for the future. They were not just students, they were future leaders capable of shaping society. Judge Thomas thought about the impact of empathy and understanding in today's conversation. He recognized that these qualities were essential not only in the courtroom but also in everyday interactions among individuals from diverse backgrounds. The way Lily articulated complex concepts with clarity reminded him of the importance of making legal principles accessible to everyone, regardless of age or experience. He envisioned future workshops where young people could gather to discuss their thoughts on justice and rights, giving them a voice in the very system that governed them. These programs would encourage open dialogues that transcended generations, allowing adults to learn from the fresh perspectives of youth while providing mentorship in return. Moreover, Judge Thomas understood that he had a responsibility to advocate for this change, not only within the walls of his courtroom but also in broader society. He contemplated reaching out to other judges and legal professionals to form a coalition dedicated to promoting legal literacy initiatives across schools and communities. Together, they could harness their collective experience to empower youth in ways that would resonate long after they left school. As he left the courthouse, lingering echoes of laughter and applause accompanied him. The excitement of the day lingered in his heart, fueling his determination to make a difference. In that moment, he vowed to carry forward the lessons learned from Lily, to listen more intently to young voices, to advocate for their engagement in civic issues, and to nurture their passions for justice. Judge Thomas understood that this was just the beginning. The seeds planted today could grow into a movement that empowered countless young individuals to step into their roles as informed citizens. As he walked into the sunlight, he felt a renewed sense of purpose, one that promised to not only redefine his approach to teaching law but also contribute to shaping a more compassionate, informed society for future generations. He knew that by fostering understanding and encouraging advocacy today, they could cultivate leaders who would carry the torch of justice into tomorrow, creating a legacy built on empathy, knowledge, and active participation in democracy. This day had been a remarkable reminder that change often begins with a single conversation, and he was eager to continue those conversations long into the future.